All right, let's talk about cybersecurity. Today, we're going to break down the fundamentals, the constant threats, the core ideas, and all the layers of defense that are pretty much the only thing standing between your digital life and, well, total chaos. So, yeah, let's dive right in. So, let me ask you something. Think about all your stuff online, your photos, private emails, your banking details, your entire digital life, really. Have you ever stopped to wonder how all of that is actually protected? It's a huge question, and the answer is way more interesting than you might think. Okay, so the first thing you've got to get is that good security isn't just one big magical lock. It's a system. It's all about layers, one on top of the other. People call it the onion skin approach. The idea is simple. If a bad guy gets through one layer, there's another one waiting right behind it. It's a strategy called defense in depth. So to really get how we protect things, we first need to understand what we're protecting and why it's so valuable in the first place. This is all about identifying the so-called crown jewels that all those layers are built to defend. We throw the words data and information around like they're the same thing, but in cybersecurity, the difference is absolutely critical. Data is just raw facts, a list of sales or student grades. It only becomes valuable information when you process it and give it context, when those raw numbers become a report that helps you make a big decision. That information, that's the real prize. Okay, so when it comes to protecting that valuable information, it all boils down to three main goals. In the biz, they call it the CIA triad. First is confidentiality. That's just secrecy, right? Keeping private stuff private. Then there's integrity. That's about trust, making sure the info hasn't been messed with. And finally, availability, which means you can actually get to your information when you need to. Pretty much every security measure out there is trying to do one of those three things. All right, so we know what we're protecting. Now, let's meet the bad guys. It's time to dive into the whole arsenal of digital threats out there, the nasty bits of code designed to bust through our defenses. First up, the classic computer virus. And it really is a lot like the biological kind. It can't survive on its own, it needs a host. So it latches onto a file, and the moment you run that file, the virus wakes up and starts spreading to infect other parts of your computer. Now, a worm, that's a different beast altogether. It's self-sufficient. It doesn't need you to click on anything. It can crawl across computer networks all by itself, replicating and hunting for new computers to infect. That's what makes them spread so incredibly fast. And then you have the Trojan horse. And yeah, it's named after exactly what you think it is. It's malicious software that's disguised as something you actually want. A free game, a cool little app. You willingly let it inside your digital fortress, and only then does it open the gates for the attackers. And one more common threat is something called a denial of service, or DOS attack. Now, the goal here isn't to steal your stuff, it's just to cause chaos. This quote sums it up perfectly. It's like a mob of people blocking the front door to a store. By flooding a website server with junk traffic, attackers can block the digital doorway so that nobody legit can get in. It's just pure gridlock. Okay, so we've got our valuable info and a whole rogues gallery of threats trying to get at it. So, how do we actually stop them? Well, we do it by building that fortress, layer by layer. This is that defense in depth strategy in action. And we're back to the onion. Seriously, this is the central idea of modern defense. Each layer is a different kind of security control. So if an attacker somehow gets past that outer layer, they don't just win. They're just met with another barrier, and another one after that. It makes their job way, way harder.
So let's start at the very core of our onion, right at the center, protecting the information itself. That's where you find cryptography. This is basically the art of scrambling data so it looks like complete nonsense to anyone who's not supposed to see it. Even if an attacker steals the file, it's useless to them without the secret key to unscramble it. This is confidentiality 101.
All right, one layer out from the core, we've got the firewall. The best way to think of this is like a digital bouncer at the front door of your network. It checks the ID of all the traffic trying to get in and out, and based on a strict set of rules, it decides who gets in and who gets kicked out. It's a critical first line of defense. But what happens when your data has to leave your protected network and travel across the big, scary public internet? Well, that's where a VPN comes in. It basically creates a private encrypted tunnel through that public space. It's like putting your data inside an armored car to drive on a public highway. No one can peek inside while it's on the move. And for our last layer, we get to something people totally forget about in this digital world: actual physical security. I mean, think about it. You can have the best digital defenses on the planet,
but they don't mean a thing if someone can just walk into your server room and walk out with a machine. This means locks on doors, security guards, cameras, protecting the actual hardware. So, there you have it. Our digital fortress is built, layer by layer. But, and this is a big but, technology is only half the story. The truth is, most security breaches aren't caused by some genius hacker in a dark room. Nope, they're usually caused by a simple human mistake.
And that's why this next idea is so important. Security isn't a product you just buy and install. It's a whole process, a way of doing things from start to finish. This secure development lifecycle shows that security has to be part of every single stage, from the moment you have an idea all the way to how you get rid of old computers. You have to build it in from the start. You can't just bolt it on at the end and hope for the best. And of course, this whole fight never stands still. It's always evolving. Think about the Internet of Things. Your smart speaker, your smart thermostat, even your fridge. All these connected devices create this huge new landscape for attackers to play in. They can try to hack the device itself, the signals going between devices, or even the big cloud companies that run them all. It's a whole new world of challenges. And that really brings us to the big final question. We've seen that cybersecurity is this constant layered battle. But as we connect everything, our homes, our cars, our entire cities to the internet, the stakes just keep getting higher and higher. The fundamental ideas of defense in depth are still true, but the real challenge, the question we all have to think about, is how do our defenses evolve to keep up?